I actually think of myself as a student of the body, and I was a little bit nervous coming here to a big conference on science and non-duality because I've been cheating for a number of years. I started off as a sexual healer doing sexual trauma recovery healing almost 40 years ago now. And since then, every time I'm always looking for how do I talk about what I do? Because you say sexual healing and everybody's either, could I talk to you? Or, keep away from me. So I'm always looking for languages to describe what I experience in session and in groups. And one of the key languages that I've discovered in the last 5 years is neurobiology. I am not a neurobiologist. I have never written or been published. I've read a number of articles, and that's about it. Because what I'm looking for is how do I describe what's happening when two bodies come together with the intention of becoming one, with the intention of coming into the kind of connection that will allow the body to naturally relax and let go. Along the way, over those 40 years, I've had a great interest in spirituality, enlightenment, and the entheogen word as a way to explore altered states of consciousness and bring those into what I see in my healing work and what we can accomplish when we bring bodies together. And along the way, I've come to an unusual definition of enlightenment. I've come to believe that enlightenment is nothing more or less than the complete cessation of all tension. When we sit and meditate, we work with quieting the mind, the cessation of thought, which is wonderful. Good thing, turn off the TV for a minute in your head and give yourself some peace. But the question that I had was, why over the entire span of human history have there been so many people who meditate and study and so few people who actually wake up? And it was my work in the healing session room that gave me some insight into this. It's great if you can quiet your thoughts. It's great if you can master your emotions. But if your physical organism is not completely downregulated and relaxed, not just at the muscular level, but at the bioelectric, the chemical level. If you're not completely relaxed, you cannot achieve enlightenment. It won't happen. There's that can only come when the body completely lets go. Deep breath. That was pathetic. Deep breath. In and out. Let's make a little sound on the exhale. In and out. That's better. Again. One more time. We are very sensitive creatures with very sensitive nervous systems. We are also a bunch of very large mammals crammed into a small room. On the most primal level, your animal body is not completely relaxed because there are friends and strangers around you and you don't know all of what's going on. With our minds, we make an assumption. I'm in a civilized place. These are all people who appreciate the things that I appreciate. I'm probably safe. Neocortex says that. Deep down, the very primal level of the animal body, it ain't having any of it. Don't care what you think. I am on alert. Maybe mild alert. What are that, yellow? Light yellow fading into green. But there's still a level of alert. And as long as that tension is happening in your body, you're screwed. You can't let go. You can't wake up. Deep breath. A little louder. One more time. What's the first signal that the animal body listens to decide whether or not it's safe? Rhythm. If I'm in one rhythm and you come up to me and you're in another rhythm, what's going on? Sometimes it's not happening on the level of gross muscle. Sometimes I can walk up to you and just look calm, but my insides are going like this, and your body feels that, and your body is like, at the best level, we'd say curious. I would say alert and vigilant to what's going to go on next. Deep breath. Again. One more time. The sensory system works by comparing and contrasting. So if I'm in one, let's just call it for shorthand, vibrational experience, meaning that all the measurable and unmeasurable at this moment, pulses that are happening in my body, are happening in a certain rhythm, and the pulses in your body are happening in a different rhythm, alertness is going to happen. That contrast, that friction, is what creates the illusion that I am separate from you, that I am a particle rather than a wave. Deep breath. Again. One more time. So when I take a deep breath, two things that I'm going to mention happen. One is that all of the rhythms in my body can begin to find the rhythm, come into harmony. And the second thing I want to mention is that when all of us in the room are in the same rhythm, when we create one breath in the room, there's less and less friction and difference, and it becomes unimportant to experience ourselves as separate objects. We can begin to let go into the wave. Deep breath. And again. Can you feel that happening in the room? Again. This is what happens with dancing, with music, with all of the original human community creating events. Rhythmic entrainment creates the sensation of community, of union. Deep breath. And again. One more time. Thank you. So as science evolves and we're catching up with interpersonal neurobiology, there's how do I bring my own rhythms into harmony and create health and coherence in this body. And then there's the question, what happens when we come together and rhythmically entrain and bring all of our systems into coherence together? Even though we're in science and non-duality, I'm going to say magic is what happens. Absolute magic. Many of you have experienced this in different settings. Certainly, the most common is with lovers, with parents and children, with groups of very close friends moving into altered space together. What I found in the session room was that when I began to use rhythmic entrainment with my clients, something very deep happened. There was a little ratcheting down, and then And the gold standard for me now is I'm looking for the feeling that you get when you hold an infant to your body and they melt. That is what complete cessation of tension looks like and feels like. So I'm very, very sorry, but when you're sitting upright in Zazen and you're breathing through the pain, you cannot possibly get there. You're working up here, but everything down here is getting more and more tense. Deep breath. And again. One more time. So my work has come to include polyvagal theory because the vagus nerve, the wanderer that goes through the trunk of the body to all the organs, unlike the other parts of the nervous system, 80% of the communication is from the ground up, from the body to the brain. It's not the little director sitting in the seat up here telling you to do all these things. It's grassroots. And in clinical studies with the polyvagal system, what is coming to be used because it's quantifiable and measurable is oxytocin nasal spray. And there are little, I just call them pacemakers, that are surgically implanted in the body to stimulate the vagus nerve. And what this does is the vagus nerve checks in, sees that everything's okay, signals to the brain, everything's cool, you can relax vigilance. We can bring back all of the energy from the extremities, which is ready for fight, flight, and we can come home to the core, where we can digest, rest, and heal. Healing does not happen when we're on the battlefield. Love does not happen when we're on the battlefield. Connection does not happen on the battlefield. And in very rare events, enlightenment does not happen on the battlefield unless a warrior surrenders to the possibility or the reality of death. Deep breath. Again. One more time. So I've moved out of the healing room. I no longer have a private practice. I work with apprentices and groups of people, and we've developed a practice that got named Belly to Belly. And it's a form of interpersonal meditation. So I'm sure all of you in this room are very experienced meditators, and this won't apply to you. But when I go out into the world with the muggles, nobody can sit still and not have their mind racing. It's just impossible. So what do? We bring two large mammals close enough that the vigilance stays on, so nobody falls asleep, nobody spaces out, and we breathe together. We create rhythmic entrainment with the breath, which brings the electromagnetic field of the heart into coherence, which affects the brain waves and alters consciousness. And we just stay together in real time, being with me, being with you, stillness. We're not doing anything. We're just noticing what happens when we slow everything down, when we relax enough for the vagus nerve to tell our brain everything's cool, we're safe here. And by the way, this happens with lovers and strangers and friends and family. This kind of interpersonal meditation hits all the spots inside that need to decide and relax and let go. Deep breath. And again. One more time. When we do this in a group, it's even more powerful. It's not just two large mammals creating a coherent, entrained rhythm. It's a whole room full of large mammals breathing as one. Now, what happens, really interesting, with our mirror neurons and the relational feedback loops is every time I sigh and let go a little bit more, your body hears that as, oh, I'm a little bit safer. There's no tension in this body next to me, so there's no preparation for sudden moves. Nothing unexpected is going to happen. So the breathing slows us down, and we just kind of go back and forth, recursive feedback loops. It's very, very quick. Usually when I begin a belly-to-belly group session, I say, stick with me for 2 minutes. It's going to feel really, really awkward, and then it'll be okay. Moving through that initial fear and awkwardness really only takes 2 minutes. It's astonishing. Deep breath. And again. One more time. Stick with me here because I'm going to go out on a limb a little bit. I don't even see the human nervous system as an individual thing anymore. Our whole internal landscape is an ecosystem, and we are circulating in an ecosystem out here. Everyone who thinks they are independent is completely full of shit. When you breathe in, you are breathing in something that's outside of your independence and isolation. When you eat, when you love, all of this is circulating energy. On the animal body level, we're giant mammals, we're great big apes, and they live in groups. People thrive in groups, in community. Our nervous system is designed to link up. We are part of a network. We are linked nodes in a network. We are not isolated billiard balls responsible for all our own feelings and actions. Deep breath. And again. One more time. Enlightenment is nothing more or less than the complete relaxation of all tension. Thank you.